Happy Monday, people. We got Pierzynski and Cam. AJ, welcome back. Where were you this weekend?
I was in Texas this weekend. Just I had to think about it. Phillies, Texas this weekend.
So the Phillies must have been really happy this weekend. Not only did they sweep the Rangers, we'll get to the Mets Brewers side of things coming up in just a moment, but Phillies playing well, AJ.
Ooh.
Against the Rangers team, no? You don't think
No,
they're
no,
playing well?
no, no. Here's what they have now. They have that monster at the back end of their bullpen. And when I talked to Rob Thompson, their manager, you know what he said? He goes, it sets up everybody else, slots them back an inning, sets up everybody else in roles they're more accustomed to and what they're more used to. So he's like, this is freaking great, man. Oh, Dave Dombrowski, yeah, good job. You got the guy that your club really needed, and he came out. And I'm just mad that Duran came in and it wasn't in Philly where I could watch that light show. But other than that, Phillies are good, man. They get clutch hits. They hit homers. They got some speed. They're playing better defense with Bader in center field. And their starting pitching we know is great. And then you put Duran at the back end. Alvarado comes back. I know he's not available for the postseason. Moves Romano up an inning. Moves some of the other guys, Strom, some other guys up an inning here and there. It's a pretty good team they got.
Yeah, what do you think, Cam?
On the head, it just really sets everybody up for success when you look at it. You talk about it now too. When you add him, now all of a sudden that bullpen goes from, hey, this is, they got some decent guys, but when you put them in these right slots, now all of a sudden it's like, hey, this bullpen is really good because everybody is in the right spot. And like AJ said, I love the athleticism that they added. And they just play a solid brand of baseball now too. I think when you look around the league, you look at the way, a lot of teams that have won in the past have done it. It's, quality pitching, good defense, and being able to score runs without, again, we talked about waiting on the slug, and they do it all with having the slug in their lineup, right? Even their guys that slug, they're professional hitters. They get professional at-bats, and they just, right now, I think the personality that they added, even talking about Bader, you add just a guy that's gritty, that wants to win, that is like, he's a student of the game, and I think it all just really bodes well and exciting when you watch the Phillies play baseball.
And the Phillies can send a thank you card this weekend to the Brewers. The Phillies were in second place last Saturday. Now they are very much in first place, so let's charge.
He's charging the mound.
We talked about him a lot last week. Cam and I talked about him. AJ, let's get you to chime in again. The Brewers have won 9 games in a row. I mean, I can go on and on with the stats here. They've won 24 of their last 28 games since July 5th. They also started the season 0-4 with a minus 32 run differential. They got destroyed by the Yankees in those things called torpedo bats. Kids, you can read about them in your textbooks, in your history books. They were 25-28 talking about Milwaukee through May 24th. Since then, AJ, they are 48-16. If you play out that kind of pace, which they've been doing for months now, over a full season, they would win 122 games. I know you got to do it the full year, but they've won 9 in a row at one point, 8 in a row, 11 in a row. Right now, it's the 9-gamer. They sweep the Mets. Your thoughts?
They're good. Let's just give them credit. You know what they've done? And they have no Churio right now. Churio's out right now. Some other guys. Joey Ortiz has gotten some big hits for him recently. After he got pretty much benched from Murph. Remember, Murph was like, hey, this guy, we've given him every opportunity. He needs to figure it out. He's been better for him. Caleb Durbin's got his little short leg problem figured out. Yelich is in and out of the lineup, but he's been swinging it better. Everybody they put in this lineup at any point can do damage. They're unbelievably defensively. They pitch incredibly. Even yesterday, McGill was down. A lot of their guys were down. It didn't matter. They just throw whoever out there, and they go out and just give them shutout. They were down 5-0 to the Mets yesterday in Sean Manaea and came back and won that game. So, listen, they're just good, whether it's pocket pancakes or whatever Murph wants to blame it on. Keep rolling, Brewers. We will give you credit. You have a six-game lead?
Six games over the Cubs.
Games.
Yeah.
6-game lead over the Cubs. Nobody would have said that a month ago, 2 months ago. There's no way anybody would have said that. So, good for you in Milwaukee.
4 months ago, 5 months ago, 6. You're absolutely right. Again, culture. Listen, I just think it all speaks to a team full of ball players, right? When you talk about, hey, what position does a guy play? just say ball player. These dudes have guys that do it each and every night, somebody different each and every night, and they pay attention to the details, right? The details matter, and Murph is a guy that pays attention to the details, even as far as getting to know your guys. He understands what makes each individual click, and you see it on the field. These guys play like they are family, and it shows each and every night.
So, do we think that they can keep this rolling? I mean, obviously they're going to lose some games, Cam, but do you think they're clear-cut the best team in Major League Baseball? Just that they have the best record by, 5 games over anyone else? That's Toronto and Philly, who are second in that category. Blake Snell came back this weekend, looked pretty good for a Dodgers team that won the World Series. So there are still some other ball clubs that are like, yeah, we see what you're doing, but we'll see in October where things tighten.
100%. And I think those ball clubs have every right to feel that way. And one in particular we just spoke about is the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm sorry, listen, when you look at that lineup, we talk about what the Brewers do so well, right? And the quality of at bats. But what they don't have is that slug, that those guys like Schwarber, Harper, Castellanos, Turner. I mean, up and down the lineup, guys that literally with one swing of the bat can make it a 4-run game, and then all of a sudden you're playing from behind, and then you're looking at that Brewers lineup like, okay, yeah, you guys are scrappy, yeah, you guys put together runs, but in the playoffs, when you do face a team like the Phillies who can string together quality at bats as well as beat you with a home run at any swing of the bat, I still think you have to really consider that. It's not going to be easy. They're going to be hard to beat because they won't beat themselves, and I think that's what's really important. And I think that's what makes great teams great is they don't beat themselves. You have to beat them. But I do think the Phillies are still right now. When you look at them, when you look at how that bullpen is shaping up, they are scary, man. And I think they're hungry, man. They're tired of losing in October. They want it bad.
Yeah, AJ, for me, this is a team that they just swept that they could meet in the postseason. Right? The New York Mets. These were some close games, and they had some things break their way. I'll give it to them. I mean, yesterday, 5-0, the Mets scored a run in each inning, and then the Brewers stormed back. You had the day before where they had the 1-run cushion, but then there were 2 more runs added on thanks to Contreras with the home run after the pitch clock violation on Ryan Helsley. So these were some close games, but I mean, some devastating losses on the Mets side. And I mean, the Miz should be back soon. He pitched a sim game over the weekend, and he said he felt fine. He's ready to go and eligible. Saw Tobias Myers, who's not stretched out, obviously, just pop up in the bullpen. No big deal. 1, 2, 3 inning. And then I think we should keep talking more about Big Woo. He's 6-0 since he came back. Or I don't know what his record is. The Brewers are 6-0 since he came back. I don't care about pitcher record. We could talk about that another time. But anyway, this was Sunday's game, AJ. It's 5-0. They come back. Isaac Collins, everyone's like, who the heck's that? And now you got to know the name. Home run off Edwin Diaz, and they had a great comeback. And Contreras hitting 2 home runs in that game was telling for me too, AJ, because he has the hand issue for much of the year. If he's hitting like that, that's a different level of offense.
Also, listen, let's give the Brewers all the credit in the world. But we got to also look at the Mets. Helsley blew 2 of these games, right? Diaz gave up the home run yesterday to walk him off. I mean, the bullpen and Rogers struggled through his inning. He had to get out of a jam in his inning too. So the Mets, let's talk. Yes, the Brewers are playing great. The Brewers are unbelievable. They're the best record in baseball right now. But let's not forget about the Mets struggles right now because they're not exactly killing it. So the Mets bullpen, remember, we were praising them. They got Rogers, they got Helsley. Now with Diaz at the back end, with Minaya coming back, this team's going to be unbelievable. And they go out and kind of like what happened with the Yankees. The Yankees got all these new guys. They struggled. The Mets have gotten these guys, and they've also struggled too. So let's not forget about it. Works both ways here.
Do we have the division races over in the National League Central and the National League East? The West is going to still be pretty tight with the Dodgers and the Padres, and they match up a lot. But the lead is 6, like we mentioned, Cam, for the Brewers. The lead is 5.5 for Philadelphia. We've got, I think, 45-ish games left to play. Does either team have a chance? The Cubs, the Mets, of catching the Phillies and the Brewers?
I like the way I'm still worried about the Mets rotation, especially if those starters can't, go a little bit deeper and give it a little bit more, like AJ said. It's not just lights out when you look at the back of that bullpen, not right now, because baseball is contagious and struggles are contagious as a team. So I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be an uphill climb for the Mets. And then the Cubs, I love their lineup, man. I still really enjoy watching them play the way they do offensively. But I think the Brewers are going to finish it off. I think they're going to continue to, again, not beat themselves. They're going to win the close ball games, right? That's what they do. I think that's a part of their superpower as a team is they know how to finish games. They know how to fight from behind. But yeah, no, I don't think they have a chance. I don't say have a chance. There's a chance because things can happen. But I think both teams are okay.
I'll phrase it this way then. AJ, do you think the Cubs have a better chance of catching the Brewers or the Mets have a better chance of catching the Phillies?
I would say, geez, I mean, first of all, I'm going to say something real quick. Mike Laverty, whoever the heck you are, dude, we understand that the starters aren't good enough, but the Mets went out and got their bullpen guys to help take some pressure off some of the guys they already used. So in the chat, if you're going to blow us up, at least understand what we're saying. We understand that, but Manaya, Senga, those guys, they haven't gone deep enough into games to save their bullpen. So what did the Mets do? They went out and got fresher arms in Rogers and Helsley and some of the other guys to help some of the guys that were already banged up. So yes, it doesn't help that the starters don't go deep, but it also doesn't help that these guys, since they've gotten there, haven't performed the way they were. So thanks, Mike, for the heads up. So next time you want to say we don't know what we're talking about, maybe there's a mirror. Hey, let's look. Thanks. See ya. Now, on to what you asked. I don't think that any team, I don't know that either team can catch him. If the Brewers continue to do this, the Cubs ain't catching him. And if the way the Mets are going right now, like I just talked about, and the Phillies are going to get Nola back soon, I don't know that they can be caught because they're just playing too well. The Phillies, I mean, on paper, I feel like are a better team than the Mets with just the way they're playing and the way they feel and with Durant at the back end. So I don't think either one of these can be caught.
Oh, and by the way, sometimes our show has a collective opinion. Often we debate, right, Cam? But often
Absolutely.
we'll look at something, especially in the offseason, and we all think the same thing, right? We'll do that on just a few major signings that we like, major signings that we don't like, trades, etc., right? Like we all smashed the Orioles on the offseason. That worked out well. We're going to pat our back for that one. We were all concerned about the Mets starting pitching. Their starting pitching was the best in baseball for the first, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it was. Okay. And just us bringing up those concerns caused a number of Mets fans to send us, it's specifically direct messages on Instagram being like, you guys are so off, apologize, blah, blah, blah. And now here we are. AJ's being told to smash the Mets starting pitching more. Oh, how it's come full circle. That's how a baseball season works, people. It's a marathon.
Exactly.
By the way, I'm just saying this, Mike's now calling us ignorant. So I guess we're ignorant now. So thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. He doesn't like ignorance. I don't know how we're being ignorant. I mean, we understand what's going on.
We're watching the game.
By the way, Cam, I'm going to say this.
What's happening?
What was one of the first things we said, and I've done a few Mets games this year, that we said for the beginning of the year, the Mets starters don't go deep into games, therefore their bullpen is going to get worn out. We have been saying that since I did a Mets game the first month of the year, and they're averaging barely 5 innings a game, and we all said on this show, they're going to need longer starts from their starters because their bullpen is going to get warmed out. And now, guess what? Their bullpen is getting worn out, but they went and got new guys because they were like, hey, some of these guys are tired. Let's go get some new guys. And Mendoza's done the best job he can of protecting these guys.
Exactly. Yes, let's shorten the game. Let's try to shorten the game. Let's try to shorten the game because our starters aren't really giving our bullpen any length right now. So let's shorten the game. And not only are we watching it, AJ, you probably played with teams that have done it. I played on the Yankees team, and you've seen it in the past history where they rely on their bullpen so much in the regular season that they're done in October. They can't even make it through October. So we're just literally watching the game. And if you not understand, AJ and I maybe are the two of the most unbiased people. We really just are going to give an opinion on what we see, what we've been through, what we've experienced. And this is what's happening when you watch the Mets right now. Like if they were dominating, we'd be giving them all the praise in the world. Period.
Wait, hold up though. Also, because Mike, we're having fun with Mike today, and he's been a long time FT fan. And Mike, let's have good fun here. I like the back and forth here. You said those new guys are already burnt because the starters aren't going deep. Mike, the trade deadline was 10-ish days ago. They didn't burn out 3 relievers in a week and a half. It's also mid-August. That's just how the MLB calendar works, where a lot of relievers start to wear down around this time if they've been used a ton. Rogers is always used a ton. mean, he's, I think, the most used reliever in the big leagues in the past 3, 4, 5 years. So let's not act like 10 days of a few new relievers coming over has absolutely destroyed their arms. It's 10 days. Am I right on that, guys? Yes, you can wear your bullpen down, but it takes months. So the new guys are not at fault. Like the Mets are not at fault for wearing down the new guys.
They've also done a good job with Diaz protecting him. He gave up a home run yesterday. Like I think he hung a slider to the guy and he hit a home run. Soto almost caught. So listen, mistakes happen. Over 162 games, mistakes happen. But yes, over the long haul, that's why the Phillies and what they've done with their starting pitching has been so incredible. Because besides Nola this year, Wheeler gives them 6 or 7 every time. Sanchez gives them 6 or 7. Ranger Suarez gives them 6 or 7. Hell, Luzardo gave them 6 on Saturday. The game I did, pitched great, matched DeGrom. Got to win against Jacob DeGrom, right? Their starters go 6, 7 innings every time. It saves those bullpen guys, Kerkering and now Duran and Alvarado when he comes back and some of those other guys. So, yes, it's a function of each one. The starters don't go deep. The bullpen gets worn down. The starters go deep. The bullpen usually has bullets left. They both work together. The Mets are catching it right now. They're catching it right now. And that's the way that roster was developed, though, and put together for them. So Mendoza's doing the best he can. They tried to bring in reinforcements. They had a bad week. How about that? They had a bad week and they ran into the hottest team in baseball. Stuff happens.
Yeah, right. Helsley's had a couple tough moments. But also, let me remind everyone, Ryan Helsley's good. This isn't 2024 Ryan Helsley. This is 2025, AJ. He's been much more hittable, the fastball specifically. And that's what happened with the pitch clock violation. They're getting to that heater. They're getting to that hundo. William Contreras did the other day. But if you look at his results on his four-seamer this year, they're not good.
Well, it's because he hasn't had that dominant out pitch this year like it's been. So guess what guys are doing? Eliminating it and going, you know what, let's get on the heater. And then when you face a team like Milwaukee, as we're talking about in the moment, these guys aren't trying to hit homers. They're having professional at-bats. And when you have those type at-bats, you get rewarded at times with the homers. So, like you said, they face the hottest team in baseball. And then, Scott, like you said, we've been talking about this from the beginning of the season. This is our biggest issue, our biggest worry when you talk about the roster of the Mets. It's just been exactly that.
Yep, exactly. Like, I know the offense has been through ups and downs, but I'm not worried about the offense. It's star-studded. It's the starting pitching and the length. And here we are with that exact problem. That's why we do this show every single day. We also do this show to talk to stars. Tarik Skubal waiting for us. So let's break and let's get them all set up to go on FT coming up in a moment. Last year's Cy Young winner, this year's ace stud for the Tigers. Kratz, tell everyone why they need to look into a virtual private network, aka a VPN.
It's kind of like wearing trousers. It keeps everything private and secure whenever you venture out.
That's good. That's really good. And Surfshark creates user-friendly privacy and security solutions to protect your data and your privacy online. It enables you to virtually explore the globe, browse privately by encrypting your internet activity, and block ads and malware that may disrupt your experience. So go to surfshark.com/foul or use the code FOUL at checkout at surfshark.com to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. It's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, and the FT fam is hooked up with 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN when you sign up at surfshark.com and use the code FOUL. It is time to take control of your online security. Try Surfshark today. Back for 2 minutes, then Tarik Skubal is going to join us. Jen Pawol makes her umpire debut in the big leagues this weekend. We talked about it last week. It happened. She, hit first, third, and then called balls and strikes yesterday in that Marlins Braves series. Hey, let's give her the same treatment that we do for anyone else. Let's see how she did. Let's throw the umpire scorecard up there. A little lenient on the edges. She actually missed her first call, and then she started to get herself in gear. But hey, you could pick on those corners or on that corner, AJ.
Yeah. She did a nice job. 87%, 95%. I don't know. She did a good job. She didn't get a whole lot of arguing, so she must have done all right. And the first pitch of the game was kind of funny, but other than that, I thought she did a nice job.
Yeah, there was that one spot where you had a weakness there where she was going to miss some wide, right?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
Inside to
you see that,
righties,
right?
outside to
into
lefties.
into
Yeah, yeah,
into righties. That was the
yeah.
one.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
out to lefties. But
Yeah, listen,
congratulations to her. She did it.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I say. It was I watched the game. You didn't have too many gripes. You didn't, watch body language. So I've seen worse. I've seen a lot worse. So shout out
Oh
to
yeah.
Jen. I'm happy for her. I'm happy she was the first to do it, and she's gonna open the door now. So good for her, and good for the next to come. It's exciting.
Her numbers were almost exactly average in terms of called strike and called ball accuracy for the year. So fitting right in. Here comes Tarik Skubal from the Tigers back on FT. Good to see you, Tarik. How's the season going for you, man?
It's going well. It's going well. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So first off, just team wise, I mean, you guys were off to a blazing start, went through a little bit of a rough patch around the All-Star break, and now have picked things back up. Do you like, looking behind you and saying, okay, we got to make sure that we get ourselves to October in a good place where you get a little heat from a team like Cleveland that's now playing well? Or would you rather be in total cruise control mode where you're just prepping for October?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about either of those things. I think, what our team needs to do is just focus on ourselves, and me focus on myself when I'm at my best. I like our team's odds of winning that day. Um, but yeah, I haven't even really looked at the standings too much, or kind of what's going around the league. I've kind of just been focused on what our team's doing, and getting back to playing the baseball. I think that we all know we're capable of.
Hey, Scoobs, it's always fun to watch you in action, man. You're my guy. But one thing I've never asked you is when you're on, when you're, when you are, have that rhythm, you find that spot. Like, what does that feel like exactly out there? Like, what does it feel like for you to be like locked in? Can you explain that to like the fans maybe, just to give them a little insight of being in that moment?
Yeah, I think for me, when I'm at my best, it's pretty simple when I'm out there. It's, you hear the pitch come, and the next thing that goes through your mind is kind of, for me, I have, sights of where I want to start pitches, depending on what the pitch come is. So you hear it, and then I look at where I want to throw the ball, and then I throw it. It's really that simple when I'm rolling and I'm at my best. And um, I think a lot of people are at their best when they keep the game simple. There's a lot of stuff that can complicate things um, throughout a game. But when I'm at my best, it really is just pitch calm. Okay, I got my sights on this. I'm going to throw the hell out of this ball to that spot.
Okay, so let me ask you on the other end, when you very rarely give up a run, because I see the look on your face sometimes you're in disbelief. When you very rarely give up a run, how do you flush it, right? For the guys who are the young guys who are dominant out there, like how do you flush it to get right back on track and not, let that moment become too big for you?
Yeah, I think I immediately go and check my process. Like, was I 100% bought in on throwing this pitch, or was there any sort of hesitant? Maybe I wanted to go somewhere else, or I was worried about leaving the ball middle instead of trying to execute the ball away. So um, that's kind of what I do is I just look back at my process. Like, okay, was I bought in on that pitch? Yes. Okay, on to the next one. Like, who cares? If I wasn't bought into that pitch, then that's when you need to flip the switch and be like, okay, let's get back to what makes me good, and that's just me buying in on every single throw. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how I judge outings. If I was really bought in on making my 90 to 100 throws that game, and if I was, I don't really care what the results are. If I wasn't, then there's some work that needs to be done.
Hey, do you feel like more times than not? I'm sorry. Do you feel like more times than not when you do get beat? Do you feel like it was that just not buying in that day? I mean, so I know you're gonna give credit when credit's due. Sometimes you just get beat, but do you feel like, hey, when you do have those outings, it's like, damn, I just it was no conviction, or it wasn't my usual conviction.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and that's when you have to look yourself in the mirror and be really honest with yourself. It's like hitting. If you want to get your A swing off, get your A swing off. Don't get beat, on your B swing. So. Um, Yeah, I think, I always want to be able to buy in and be convicted with every single throw. And if I am that day, I don't really care what the numbers are. If I'm not that day, those are the ones that kind of eat at you and they'll keep you up at night, and you probably won't sleep as well. At least I don't, when I want a couple of throws back that I just wasn't bought in on.
Tarik, first of all, I know you check the scoreboard, so don't lie. It's cool. I check the scoreboard in spring training. Okay, so like it's cool that you're like I don't pay. You pay attention, and you'd rather have a 20-game lead. Okay, every team would like to have a 20-game lead going to September
Oh
and be
yeah.
like, we can cruise. Okay, so don't give me the standard. All right, no, I don't look at this. Yeah, look at the scoreboard, dude. I know you do. You're playing the White Sox the next 3 games. You look at it and you go, we should win the next 3. I get it. It's a big league team, but that's the way big league players operate. Okay. So I appreciate the politically correct answer, but it's cool. Okay. All right. Now, we were talking about this. I don't know if you heard this conversation before you came on about the Mets and their bullpen and how their starters don't go 5 innings. They go 5 and usually are out. Their bullpen has to cover 12 outs a lot of night. As a starting pitcher and as the ace and the Cy Young Award winner, how much pride do you starters take in trying to get to the 7th, 8th, and if you can, even finish a game? How much does that mean to you? And then how much does it affect the bullpen if you, Flaherty, Paddock, all you guys go 7, boom, boom, 7, 7, 8, 7, and your bullpen comes in and goes, man, we haven't pitched in a while. You're like, yeah, but that's a good thing because you'll be ready later.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I think as a pitcher, you take a ton of pride in throwing innings and trying to log as many innings as you can. The 200 inning threshold is a little bit different than it's been in years past, but if you can eat as many innings as you can, and for me, I want to get there. I threw 192 last year in the regular season, and I want to get to 200 innings. And to be able to do that, you got to be pretty efficient, and get 3 outs pretty quickly, and get deep into games, and pitch ahead, get in count leverage, do all that stuff. But yeah, I think as starters, the game's kind of changed a little bit just because relievers are so good now. But I think as starters, you have to take a ton of pride in going deep into ball games and making the manager's decision as hard as you can. I don't want the manager to think that, oh yeah, this is the obvious decision to go to this guy in the 8th. It's like, no, I'm still better than the guy we're going to go to in the 8th today. So, yeah, that's something that I take a ton of pride in, and I wish there was more emphasis on innings pitched in today's game, but I also get it because the 8 guys in the bullpen nowadays, it's not the same that it was, 10, 15 years ago.
Tarik, how closely do you follow Paul Skeens and his performance? When we met him in person last year at the awards dinner, which obviously you were there too, he talked about how he really was looking over the offseason at how you were thriving, how you were going deep into games, everything about what you were doing last season, of course, right? So curious on the flip side of that, this year he is going super deep into starts. They babied him a little bit like anyone else does heading into the major leagues. He only spent 5 minutes in the minors anyway, but his strikeout numbers are still fine, but they're not as crazy as they were last year. And it looks like there is an emphasis on efficiency so that he can go 7+ as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, one, he's a great pitcher. I mean, the stuff that comes out of his hands is pretty special. He can do a lot of things with the baseball. I feel like he's got like 8 pitches, and they're all pretty good, elite shapes and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I mean, I watch what he does. It seems to me like he dominates every time out. So it kind of gets boring to watch. It's like, does he ever get hit? Is he ever going to give up a hit? But yeah, I think that that's what the really good ones do. I think as a starting pitcher, you kind of want to be a little bit boring because that means nothing's going on in the game. That means you're pitching well. So, um, yeah, I mean, he's a great arm. What he's doing this year is phenomenal. I'm curious to kind of see what they do down the stretch, just to with his career, and they want the longevity out of him. But yeah, I mean, he's a great arm, and he's probably the Cy Young favorite in the National League this year for good reason.
Hey, Scoobs, I want to ask you this, man. I know you're a very present guy, but I also know how competitive you are. How much do you allow yourself to think about legacy? And then you talk about the Tigers, what you guys are doing, and how much a big postseason start or outing could mean for that legacy.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that a ton. Um, for me, I mean, a legacy for me is to bring a championship to whatever, to the city I'm playing in, and that's the most important thing to me in sports is winning. Individual accomplishments are great. I mean, it's great to get honored in that way, but um, winning a championship, I think that's when you talk about legacy, I think that's the legacy that you want is bringing a championship to the city, um, and that's kind of the goal. So, however I do that, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't matter if I'm the one with the big start or if Jack's the one or Casey or Paddock or Charlie. Like, I don't think it matters who has the big start for me. Just winning a championship is going to be the most important thing to me. And however I can help the team do that, I'm going to do it.
Are you tired of hearing 1984 yet in Detroit? Are you tired of hearing
Yeah, I
1984?
mean, it's a long time ago. It's a long time ago, and I love when we have any of the '84 guys around. I love when they come back and hang out. But 2025 sounds a lot better. Sounds a lot more recent. To me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, our '84 team started out like 20-2 or 35-5 or something
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
It
probably
was
the most dominant championship of all time is the '84 team. I think they had the like craziest lead, and the postseason was dominant, best record in the baseball. Like they never lost that too. So, yeah, that's probably one of the most dominant championships in baseball history.
It's good to know you know your history. Now, the other day, I think it was your last start. You had a little shouting match with the umpire. You said some words your mom and dad probably aren't proud of you about.
Yeah.
What's I know as a catcher we can hide. We have a mask on, so we can say things, and no one really knows we're yelling at the umpire. But when you're Tarik Skubal and they look out there and they show everything that you do, and you're yelling these words, do you apologize to the umpire afterwards? And have you ever gotten to the point where you're like, I'm going to get ejected right here?
It was close that game. It was close. I don't want to get ejected in the first inning. Obviously, that puts our team in a horrible spot. But it wasn't the pitch right there that was just showed. The pitch prior was a strike, and he balled it, and then he balled that one again. And the changeup that I threw, the first pitch of that at bat was just a little bit down. So there was um, the sequence of events is probably what led to that outburst. It wasn't just like the one pitch, because I understand like everyone's human. I get it. Like if I was an umpire, I'd miss pitches too. It's the human part of the game, but. Um, in the moment, it's the first inning. A lot of runs are scored in the first inning off starting pitching. It's one of the best hitters of all time in the box. I don't want to be in a 3-0 count to him. It should have been 1-2 if the last two pitches were called strikes. So yeah, I just probably lost it a little bit. Ended up getting him out, so it didn't matter. But I think every inning matters, every pitch matters, and that's probably what I was most frustrated with.
All right. So are you going to be excited when you can do this next year? And it's what you said. By the way, don't forget who was hitting. Mike Trout was hitting. They're not going to call the strike zone. There's certain players, and I know it's not supposed to do this, but every once in a while, umpires, they kind of, when certain guys come up to bat.
Yeah, and listen, that's part of the game. I love the game of baseball. I'm not going to say that that's not part of the game, or he's earned the right to have a smaller strike zone because he is Mike Trout. He's accomplished. He's about to hit his 400th homer or whatever it was. I just didn't want it to come off me because I didn't want to watch the highlight. So I'm like, listen, I want to be in a 3-0 count to Mike Trout. But yeah, I just probably shouldn't do that because I run the risk of getting ejected early in the game. That never even crossed my mind. Um, but yeah, I understand. I mean, it's a game of baseball. I didn't apologize because I didn't think I was wrong in that sense. But yeah.
Hey, Scoobs, did you have a chance to see the Cora and Suarez thing as far with the iPad and the tips? And I just want to ask you,
Yeah.
in the game of baseball, I played with, I went over to the Astros in 17 and was a part of that team and that whole deal. I also played with the Yankees. I play organizations that they try to figure out a way to get competitive edges. I want to, get your take on it while you're still in the game right now. How do you feel about it as a pitcher?
Yeah, I think if I was a hitter and I had a tip at a runner on second base, I'd want to know it. I'm very much on it as far as not tipping my pitches. In my bullpen work, there's one of our video guys watches every single throw I make in a bullpen, watches every throw I make in the game, and we're very back and forth on tipping stuff or making sure I'm not tipping pitches. So I'm very much it's part of the game. It's part of the baseball game. If you don't want to do it, don't tip your pitches. I think that's pretty simple, and that is, I think that's a competitive advantage. You have guys at second base that can relay signs, and get location or get which pitch is coming. I think it's all fair game. The one I have a problem with is the first base coach and the third base coach that aren't in their box that they have. I don't know why they have a box if they can't just be in it, because sometimes they go way up the line and way up the other line, to see things that you shouldn't be able to see when you're playing the game of baseball. So that's the one I have a problem with. And there's teams that do it. Um, Boston's coach. They've had me before in Boston. Cleveland has had me before. Sandy Alomar at first base. But I'm very aware of what's going on, and when that kind of stuff starts to happen. And I think as a team, we're pretty aware of it. We're watching and making sure nothing's going on. And, teams like to do the fake tip stuff. Boston said they've liked to do the fake tip stuff. And we just make sure that there's nothing going on, But as far as getting the run signs from second base, and, if the pitcher is doing something drastically different with their glove, or, maybe they look down or something, or look down twice, it's always fastball. Like, I think that's fair game. I think that's part of the game of baseball. But like I said, the one I don't like is when the first base and third base coaches go way down the lines and are doing things that, if they want to do that, stay in the box. I guess that's my opinion on it.
All right. So have you say that certain teams have had you. By the way, don't ever go Hector Neris on Sandy Alomar. I know he's older, but that dude is like a black belt in like 7 different things. So, like, if you're going to yell at one, yell at their third base coach. Don't yell at Sandy, because Sandy, I don't know that you want to
Yeah.
get into that scrap with
No,
Sandy.
I
I'm
like
just
Sandy a
warning you.
lot. I
I
like him a
love
lot.
Sandy.
I've talked to him about it. I go, hey Sandy, I know what you did last start. It's not going to happen again. Um, so yeah, I think that's part of the game of baseball. I think that's fair game in what they do.
Okay, that's fair. But now, do you guys, as starting pitchers, do you watch your guys when you guys aren't on your start day? Because we used to have starters, we used to have coaches that would watch every pitcher. We had a camera that was locked in on every pitcher from the home plate, like the batter's view. Do you guys watch also to help? Because yes, one person. Because here's the thing: we used to have coaches. Like, I played with Alex Cintron, who's the Astros hitting coach, and he's like, everybody tips. And I played with Joey Cora, everybody tips. And literally, it would be like, oh, they're here. And then one pitch, I'm like, dude, I can't tell the difference in this
Yeah.
and this. So do you guys watch for that stuff also on the bench? Because I think you're right. It's part of the game, but it's also part of the game for you to be able to catch it before the other team does.
Yeah, I've watched when something doesn't look right, when guys are spitting on pitches that usually guys swing at, with our guys on the mound, or when I'm on the mound. I'll be watching and being like, okay, that's a weird take, okay, that's a weird take again. I don't I don't give hitters credit in that aspect. I don't think that they take pitches all that well, and they're like, oh, I saw that really well, even if they think they did. I don't think they did. So when some type of weird stuff is going on, I'll immediately get the iPad, or get something, and watch and make sure nothing's going on. I think our organization's great at that. Not only is our, the video guy, but our pitching coaches are pretty dialed in on it. And you can pull it up, side by side on the iPad, and you can get 2 or 3 iPads if you want, and compare some things. And if there's adjustments that need to be made in game, I think everyone on our team is pretty comfortable doing that, because the last thing I want is the guy to know what pitch is coming. I mean, it's hard for me to pick up tips, but if someone were to show me something, it's just kind of getting rid of the big ones. You know what I mean? Like the big tips that are very obvious. If they're really close, I don't think hitters are as comfortable buying into those tips. But the pretty obvious ones, those are the ones you try to want to get rid of.
Agreed. I had to know early. I had to know way early, because
Yeah,
if you do it once you pick your leg up, it was too late for me. So it had to be
exactly.
something early. All right, we had a conversation earlier. I think it was last year, and then I don't know if you met Barry Bonds at the BBWAA awards, but
Yeah, yeah.
you said you would want to face him. Well, I want to know, how long would it take? Forget Barry Bonds, because you don't want that smoke. I told you that, and you laughed because you're like, oh, Barry
It's
don't want me.
it's a win-win situation for me.
True.
I don't
True.
care. It's lose-lose for him. Greatest hitter of all time if he gets out. Oh, how'd he get out? If he hits a homer off me, I'm like, yeah, he's the greatest hitter of all time. I don't care.
True. Okay, but let's go a little bit farther back. Babe Ruth. A lot of discussion about Babe Ruth. He swung like a 50-inch bat. How long do you think it would take Babe Ruth to get a hit off of you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the game's greats would always adjust to the era of baseball that we're in now. I've actually had that conversation with Alan Trammell. Like, hey, Trammell, like, the game is different than when you played, obviously, with the guys' stuff that's coming out of arms. And I was like, what do you think? And then Tram's such a down to earth guy. He could easily say, yeah, I'm a Hall of Famer. I'm going to, I'd rake off anybody. It doesn't matter. But he was like, no, it'd take me a little bit of adjusting to this. But, he's like, I'll hold my own once I get adjusted to it. And I thought that was really cool coming from a Hall of Famer. Like, a lot of guys that are of that pedigree have a sense of pride attached with, which is totally acceptable. I get it. They're Hall of Famers. But he actually was like, it'd take me a little bit to get going. And then once I got it, like I'm a Hall of Famer. I'm going to be able to do what I do. And I was like, I love that answer. And that's probably the same thing with Babe Ruth. Like, I don't think Babe Ruth is going to be able to swing a 50-inch bat off of me in an at bat. I just don't think it's going to work. But once he kind of gets up to date with kind of modern baseball, I mean, I think he's going to be a game's great. And it'd be a fun at bat for sure.
All right. I want an at bat in spring training next year. Live BP. I'm coming to Lakeland. I'm going to get an at bat off you. You'll probably strike me out. It's a win-win for me. I'll be 49 years old, and you'll probably punch me out. But don't let me get a hit, because we're gonna. Do not let me get a hit. I promise.
Yeah,
it could be bad.
You're not going to get a pitch to hit. I don't think.
That's crap. What do you mean?
You're not going to get a pitch to hit. I'm just not going to throw you a pitch to hit. It's going to probably be a lot of velocity, and just play that you haven't swung a bat in a while.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I was a bad ball hitter. I'm just telling you, I was a bad ball hitter.
Listen, you got to pitch to him, Scoobs, because he won't be as bad as me. I don't tell everybody that the one time that I, faced you backfield, I hit a double off the wall in Toledo on my rehab stint. So I don't put that out there often, but you're so humble. Listen, I said, this is the one guy, one superstar, AJ, other than you, that I can text until he texts me back immediately. But one thing I want to ask you that, again, when you first came into the clubhouse, I'm like, who is this guy? Tarik? I'm like, oh, he's a white dude. What's the worst or funniest the pronunciation you've heard of your name? Like, I just want to hear it.
The most common is Tarik, which I don't really understand how they get there. Like, Tarik makes more sense to me. Tarik has never really made sense to me. But yeah, that's probably the most common is Tarik. And growing up, I don't think that people thought my name and it'd be who I am. You know what I mean? So that's just it's all right. I get, I give my parents a tough time a lot. Like, hey, why Tarik? Why? It just whatever. But yeah, Tarik is probably the most common one.
But you know what? You had the handshake down. You know what? And because I know what you mean, AJ. We used to play. John Baker, white guy, used to play a game during the game. Rain delay said white guy, black name. Ike Davis, Khalil Green, Tarik Skubal. I thought he was gonna be a brother, and then here he comes around the corner. I love it.
Yeah. I want to know, Tarik. What's your ethnicity? What's your background?
White? I don't know.
No, like your heritage. Where's your family from? Like, where?
I think a little bit in Europe, but the name is definitely not from Europe. The name is from my mom told me the story one time. I don't really know how true it is, but that's probably time for a different day. But yeah, I don't really know the name, because I mean, my brothers are Tyler, Trey, Trent, and Will, and I'm Tarik, so I don't really get that, but whatever.
I was hoping you needed to say Polish, because then we'd have you on Team Poland, and then we could have you and Ms. Mizorowski going 1-2, and nobody would want that. We could win the Olympics with that.
Yeah, with all due, I'd rather play for Team USA.
Hey, no?
Yeah, he's going to get a USA phone call. Sorry, AJ. Sorry about it. Tarik, good stuff, man. Great to have you back on. Hope you had a good time. Thanks for joining us. Keep doing your thing. We'll catch you down the road, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. Tarik Skubal from the Tigers. Tarik, not Tarik. Be right back. We have a little breaking news on HelloFresh. We've talked about them for a long time, but this summer They have their biggest menu upgrade yet. Ready for this, Todd Father?
Talk to me.
They have doubled their menu. Doubled. Now you can choose from 100 options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. 100 options per week.
That's incredible. But to start out, what they had before was absolutely perfect. Now to add even more for your go guys like me. I got baseball in the morning. I got baseball afternoon, all day, every day. I need something to get going. I need something to eat, and it's absolutely delicious, Scott.
That's right, Todd Father. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM right now to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on a first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That is HelloFresh.com/FT10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. Brewers had a great weekend. So did the Mariners. Sweep. Cal Raleigh homer each day. They're a half game back of Houston. They jumped ahead of Boston for the second wild card. They're 9-1 since the trade deadline. Don't tell me the trade deadline isn't massively impactful. It's a bigger deal probably in the offseason. Cal has 45 home runs this season, 45 dingers. One of them was way below the zone. A little classic Cal. Let's see if this was the one. No, that one's in the zone. But he had one, guys, you saw it, of the 3, way below the zone. And he also caught Chandler Simpson stealing on an off-speed pitch. So he really had the total weekend from a catcher, AJ.
Huh. Somebody called him the MVP, and I got blasted. So I'm going to stick with it. He's the freaking MVP of the American League because not only what he's doing offensively, but he catches every day, and he is a platinum glover defensively. Oh, yeah, and he signed a nice extension this offseason. So way to go, Mariners. And by the way, who'd they play? The Rays? Don't tell me the trade deadline don't matter. They traded away some guys. They have been playing like crap since that trade deadline. Mariners excited. Rays not excited.
Yeah, and Cal homered off Griffin Jacks, too, who was the only significant addition probably for the Rays. But 2-0, I don't remember what the pitch was, but it wasn't a good one.
And hey, listen, and Naylor and Suarez, they keep coming up with big timely hits, and Randy just continues the rake. So it's coming together right now with my guy Edgar and my guy, Kevin Seitzer at the helm. All of a sudden, those approaches coming together, AJ.
Yeah. Except Kevin Seitzer hates homers, so he's mad at Cal.
Better than box scores. Let's hit a topic from the weekend. The Padres take 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox. Red Sox won on Friday. They got to Nick Pivetta and company, but then the Padres bounced back with a couple tight wins. And the headliner from the weekend comes from the image that was caught of Robert Suarez's setup. So, AJ, I'll let you start this one and take it away. You guys were great when we were all talking this morning on the phone. So we'll let the players play here. What do you got?
Listen, if you catch something, okay, I have no problem. If you catch something and they just shouldn't have been doing it where the camera could see what they were showing, because now every team in the league and the Padres are going, all right, what did the Red Sox have on Suarez's glove, way he sets up? So they shouldn't have had it. They shouldn't just had it in the dugout. They should have brought it down. Right here's the video. And then they cut to Alex Cora and he's showing somebody the thing with where right there, boom. So they have something. They should have had that in the dugout a little farther down. And listen, I have no problem with it. It's part of it. It's part of what happens. I mean, we used to have still frames of guys that this pitch and this pitch, or when they're moving, when they stopped, what they did. So this is not a big deal. They shouldn't have done it so blatantly.
Exactly. I agree with AJ. And then we just had, our guy Scoobs on, Tarik Skubal, Cy Young Award winner, who just also said that he doesn't have a problem with it at all. At the end of the day, with the technology that we have, you're going to have iPads and you're going to have, extra, cameras all over the place that's going to give you different angles and different looks, especially after the games are over, right? And some organizations I've been in, they pay guys to literally, that's your only job, to sit around all day and find tips on the starting rotation, on the bullpen guys, on guys in the minor leagues. Like, that's what they get paid to do. So for me, this is just a part of the game that we're in now. Like AJ said, once upon a time, it was guys printing out pictures. They had to go to print it out and wait, for 18 pictures of and 18 different steals, and now we just have it on iPads. So guys have been trying to, get competitive advantages for years, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Like AJ said, just dude, you're on deck or you're in the hole, just come down here real quick and take a peek, and then go back up there. They just made it a little bit too obvious. So now here we are having to talk about it.
All right. We have fans that casually watch the game that wonder what is okay, what's not okay. Kyle Glazer, actually, from Friar Territory, did a good job reaching out to MLB, and they sent him a note. Per an MLB spokesperson, clubs are able to add their own advanced scouting materials to the dugout iPads that are registered with MLB. So there you go. MLB was like, this is clean. This is what you're allowed to do. Let's show this tweet that went kind of viral over the weekend, because we're still PTSD-ish as a fan base, MLB. I'm generalizing here. I'm not. But this tweet from Ben Porter: worst thing about the Astros scandal is it ruined people's ability to appreciate the nuances of legal sign stealing in recognition of pitch grips and tipping. Cam, you played for the Astros in 2017.
Yeah,
you played for the Yankees around that time period.
Did they bang the trash can when you hit, or was that only for certain people?
What's that?
The 2017 Astros, when you hit, did they bang the trash can?
Listen, I got there a little too late, so I just one of those people like you said. If it wasn't 100%, like I'm good. I don't want it. Like certain guys, you know what I mean? Like certain, and it wasn't every guy. Like a lot of guys didn't like to do that. A lot of guys just were like, hey, I just want to go normal because it gets me in between. You know what I mean? So I think it was all just personal preference, man. But with that said, even going through that experience, like the Astros, we did it the hard way. Guys are trying to, get things in game. I played for the Yankees, where just like you saw on the iPad, they send you home with it, and they literally, it's right there. Bullpen tips, starter tips, whoever may be tipping, and it's like a game, and it shows you. You can watch it all night before the game to reiterate what you might see out there. So there are teams doing it just like you saw, in a smarter fashion. So it's not just to sit at, second, run on second. There, we have pitch comms now. You can't just steal signs anymore. Like those days are over with. I hear what he's saying, but those days are long gone over with. And that's because that was the time that we were in, right? Guys, hey, you could get catcher signs. You could get catcher's grips. Well, guys are so good now at covering it up. People are still looking for a way. Teams are still looking at it for a way to figure out, hey, how can we get Tarik Skubal's pitches? How can we get Justin Verlander's pitches? How can we get the best guys in the game to give us a chance to win? So it's been going on for centuries. Now we just are in a day and age of technology where it's just more prevalent to, have it on an iPad, and it's easier than banging on trash cans.
No. Okay. I can't let this go. I'm sorry. Nothing was easier than banging on a trash can. If you watch the video when Danny Farquhar caught him.
Yes, it was.
Okay. How? It was the easiest thing of all time. It was easy. They had a TV.
Listen, I'm telling you, you're asking me. Hold on, you're asking me. This is my experience. I'm going to tell you, this is my experience. These guys were, when it was going on, you're down in a tunnel, and they're trying to get the live feed, and they're trying to decipher your signs, right? And it was literally it might take 6 innings for a guy to get the catcher signs. It might take, you literally might not get anything. The Yankees sent us home with iPads, AJ, literally with a guy's tip, and the red circle would pop up if he went here, like you said, or if he came back here, or if he did something on the tip, it would literally stop, pause. Hey, so literally I got to watch it all night long. All night long, I got to watch it, study it. So when the game happened and I walked into the box, it was like, boom, there it is, first pitch. Got him. First pitch of the game. So, yes, I'm telling you, there are better ways. And I'm sure teams were doing it, again, prior to the Astros. They just have not got caught. But there are ways to do it, just like you saw on the iPad, that are easier to do. And you have it from pitch one. The Astros, you might not get it the whole game. You might get it in the 6th, 7th inning. So, again, this is the experience that I went through.
Okay, but I'm going to ask you a question now, because no one's ever talked about this, and you're on our show, and you were on the 2017 Astros, right? So you're saying if nobody knew this was going on, the first pitch of the game, and I put down a fastball, and the key was if you hear me banging on a trash can for a fastball, they would do it as soon as I put down the one. You could hear it. So that's the easiest thing, because they had a live camera feed.
Well, again, I got there late in the season. I was a waiver acquisition, right? So I don't know the exact process, but when I was there, I don't remember it happening like pitch one of the game. I only remember it happening, and that's a great point you make because I've literally never thought about that. That you sit here and make that point. Again, half the time I'm go back. I'm the guy that's in the dugout, AJ. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not even thinking about it like that. It was more so trying to get signs when a guy might have been dealing or something. A guy, couldn't get to a guy. But again, I don't remember it being like pitch one of the game, guys banging trash cans. And again,
Okay.
I've also said too, when I got there late, it wasn't like first day in, hey Cam, come check this out. Also, it was, like it took 2 weeks for them to even be like, hey, this is the process, this is the thing. Like you know what I mean? Like, because at the time too, I played on teams where there are TVs in the tunnel. There are like, at the time, computers in the tunnel. You can go see your at bat. So even then, they wasn't like, hey, come look at what we're doing. I just thought, hey, guys are going down in the tunnels, watching their at bats, just kind of checking things out. So, it wasn't just like wide out and open for guys that came late after the trade deadline or waiver pickups as well. You had to kind of be there for a minute to kind of figure things out.
That's fair. That's fair. I just, no one's ever talked about it. So I'm just wondering because, like, it seems to me if I'm hitting and I got a guy going, or most of the time it's a verbal sign from the dugout or a coach or wherever it is, or something they do. But if I don't have to take my eyes off the pitcher and if I'm hitting and I still have my eyes on the pitcher, right? And I hear, and I'm like, oh, here comes a split or whatever it is that day. Like, damn, I'm like, all right, I don't have to swing at the split because I hear.
Yeah,
right?
and I can honestly sit here and tell you that I know for a fact, and I won't say names, but I know guys that literally were like, nah, I'm good, I don't want them. Like they just, because like you said, they don't trust it. They just like, I'd rather trust my eyes and you know what I mean, and see what I see, because they didn't want to take the chances of being in between because it wasn't always right.
Yeah, and my thing is, Cam, I'm with you. Hey, you're getting homework on pitch chipping. That's one thing, but the Astros thing was catchers calling pitches, and that you can't see, right? I mean, you can't see if no one's
They
on.
had a special
second and
camera
all that.
dedicated just on the catcher to get the signs. And I mean, I know Cam said it wasn't 100% right, but after one pitch, if I go like this and here comes a heater, that's 100%. Until now, when a guy gets on second, listen, you start doing multiple signs, right? But there are certain places. Toronto, we always did multiple signs, changed them every inning because we were afraid of them doing something, right? There were certain places where we did multiple signs. Houston was never thought of that. But then once this came out, you kind of look back. And I remember at one point we were talking about it. People were talking about it in Houston. They thought they had microphones in the clubhouse. Teams were doing their meetings, their advanced meetings at the hotel because they were so paranoid of things. Now, I don't know if it was true or not, but that was just things you were hearing like, oh, Houston has microphones in the meeting rooms and in the locker room and in the coach's office and in the cages so they can hear what you're talking about and how you're going to pitch guys. Now, I'm not saying that was true. It was just rumors that were thrown out there. Again, I don't know, but that was just things that were thrown out there as why the Astros were so good.
Yeah,
besides the fact they had really good players, listen, their players were really good too.
Yeah, they went on to win, 2 more after that. So I think that says a lot when you talk about, like you said, the culture that they created. But I didn't ever hear about the microphones or anything like that going on. But again, if we're going back to it too now, Scott, let me go back to the Red Sox and iPads. After I left the Yankees, and went to play for 3-4 other teams, I was thinking like, why isn't everybody doing this for their players, right? Like, I feel like this, with the technology that we have, like this should be the expectation. And like Scoob said, if you want to fix it, then stop tipping, right? Don't make it, capable of being able to be accessible on the iPad and have something that we can go look at. But for me, I think these organizations like the Yankees, like Boston, and I'm sure a lot of the winning orgs, I'm not want to, just say any, organizations that we don't know for a fact, but I'm sure they aren't the only two that are trying to do what they can to give their offense a competitive advantage against teams.
Yeah, and I think that's changed. I think almost any team, I have to imagine, is watching for pitch tips. And some are still probably better and more stacked than others in terms of the intel and in terms of the personnel that they put to this. Last layer of the equation here, because we didn't get to it, but I think it's important. Tarik Skubal was very vocal about the fact that he thought that base coaches staying in their box is becoming a problem. Some fans pointed out how this weekend we had that with the Cubs-Cardinals game. They were calling for the coaches to stay in the box. So it seems like the base coaches are getting more involved, or at least it's becoming more of a thing from players speaking out on it. AJ, what do we do?
You keep them in the box. But
How?
listen, because there's a little line, you have to stay
I
in the box.
understand, but they're not listening.
Well, then you have to enforce it. That's it. Listen, coaches have been giving away pitches for years. I remember when I first came up, we had certain guys that our base coaches, if they did like this, or if they moved this arm, or if they did this, or if they stood still, if they moved, it was different. It was different pitches. So it's been happening for years. That's a harder one to control because what if they're standing in their box and they still can see it, right? So then you got to figure out where they're getting it from. So I don't have a problem. The only problem I have is with the electronic sign stealing. Okay, that's the problem. Anything else, I don't care. If you're doing something and someone on the field can see it, now if you have somebody in center field with binoculars and they're telling you, I have a problem with that. But if you're on the field and you see something and you can give your team an advantage, I have no problem with that. Get better.
Yeah, I'm with you. So we'll see. Maybe the base coach thing has to become more of a punishment. I'm sure there is some type of punishment for it, like a fine or something, but maybe it becomes more of a thing. We'll see. Usually this stuff gets amplified in the playoffs too. So, but you guys are right. That time period in baseball, because I remember I was on the road a lot covering baseball, especially in the playoffs, was paranoia. Paranoia was where you would hear whispers about all kinds of rumors and conspiracies, and obviously some of them proved to be true. All right, coming up next, we are going to look at what the Yankees have been up to and some recent Aaron Boone comments about Devin Williams. We're also going to do a little bit of schedule watching to see which teams have strong and not so strong strength of schedule coming up. Hey, we love ripping slab packs on Arena Club. I just ripped one in a Ruby pack. Those are fancy schmancy, Kip. And I pulled a Matt Shaw 2023 Bowman Draft Aqua Lunar Crater Refractor card. And guess what? I got a little offer. You get the instant offer right away. Okay. So they're offering me $121. Sell it back, and then I can get a new slab pack. What do I do?
I want to see this thing. Hold on. Look at that. That's a beautiful card. You know what? I think that's a safe bet. I think it's going to make you a little bit of money. I think the more big league time he gets, I'd almost take the deal, though. I'm in it for the chase. I like opening more packs. I think that 121 can buy you a couple more slabs to open. And I think you keep chasing until you get something you really like. But that's the best part about it for me.
That's right. You can sell it back, $121, and then open up another slab pack. Use the code FOUL to receive 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul. We're back. Some fans pointing out, AJ, in the chat, how AI can impact things, right? Because AI is going to be able to find tips and all that.
But every
you
team
still got to play
has
the game. Yeah.
But every team has that, right? Every team has the ability to do the same thing. That's why I don't have a problem with the iPad. Teams should be able to scout themselves. I don't think teams do enough self-scouting to where they say, hey, find out what our guys are doing. Are our guys tipping, right? We're always looking at the other team. And I used to have a talk with the White Sox all the time. But I would say, why don't we have a scout that watches us and then reports to us what he sees about us? Let's not worry about the other team so much necessarily, but let's also have a scout that self-scouts. Hey, we got this guy tipping, this guy doing this guy doing this on our own team. We're always looking at the other team. We don't ever look at our own team, and a lot of teams don't do that still. That's the key. Just because one team gets it, that doesn't mean that every team has it, right? But also you could self-scout yourself and have AI or whatever you want to do. Say, hey, our guy's here, doing this or doing that, and have AI figured out for your own team. So that's why I don't have a problem with what they're doing on the iPads. It's there for every team to have.
And I'm with AJ, and I guess that's my whole thing about this is even to a guy that played for so many different organizations and how long, I went before I played with organizations that were trying to get their offensive guys a competitive advantage other than just like hitting in the cage and having them a great approach and, you know what I mean? Like the normal hitter meeting. Like I just feel like, if I'm a team now, and like AJ said, there are teams out there now. If I'm a team, a guy that's on an organization that doesn't have this, I'm like, what are we doing?
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
All right, let's hit the Yankees because the struggles continue for this team. They dropped 2 out of 3 to the Houston Astros over the weekend. They're playing 500 ball since May 1st. They're 44-43 since May 1. They're 21-31 since June 12th. That's 2 months ago. The Guardians are 7-2 this month, and they're chasing them. The Yankees might lose the wild card positioning. So let's go over 2 quotes. That's what he said. One, we'll go over what Aaron Boone said about Devin Williams. And really, I can just summarize here, Boone, on the first part. He said they were staying away from David Bednar and trying to stay away from Mark Leiter Jr. too. This was on Friday when Devin Williams gave up another homer, and now that's 4 in 8 games for D-Will. Yep. And that Boone was trying to find softer landing spots for Williams, but that it was difficult at the moment. Now, he struck out the side on Sunday, but the Yankees were already trailing by multiple runs, and that was in the mid-innings of a game that is much more of a softer spot for Devin Williams to try and regain confidence. Let's talk about the other quote from Booney about how fans are kind of losing their mind, and the Yankees have spiraled for quite a while after a hot start. The game is littered with dead and buried teams. We're in playoff position right now. We've been through 2 bad months where we haven't performed at a level we need to. Go back the year before, you can pick out a number of teams that are sitting in a worse position than we are right now that go on a run. We have the people to do that, no doubt on my mind. It's just sitting here as we talk right now. We haven't been good enough the last 2 months. This is different than 2023, where I didn't think we were necessarily capable of that run that we needed to really get hot. And this is me for a second. They didn't make it in 2023. He said, we were out of it at that point. This is different. We're in a position right now where we're in control of things. We're in a playoff spot technically. I believe we have the people to get it done. We got to play consistent baseball, period. Cam, former Yank, I'll let you go first on this whole situation. I'll add one more point. I was at a party over the weekend around a bunch of Yanks fans who are like, this is just a disaster. Awful, awful season, awful team, blah, blah, blah. And it's just funny. Like, they made the World Series last year. They're still in playoff positioning, but if they're not cruising through the division, they're going to hear it. And it's been bad play for a while. And I think the sloppiness probably hurts fans a lot too. It's just, they're losing games where it's frustrating to watch. And then this Devin Williams moment stands out too, because fans are like, why the hell is he in any eye leverage right now?
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit of Booney. We've talked about it before. He's the type of manager who's going to have his players back. He's going to do everything in his power to make you feel like he believes in you. But I think there's some moments where you just have to read the room, right? And Devin Williams, we're talking about ERA over 5, and he just hasn't been himself since he's been in those pinstripes. We talked about it not being for everybody. And right now it hasn't looked like it's been for Devin Williams, but he's the least of their problems, right, Scott? When you look at a rotation that has been, just decimized with injuries, and you look at Max Fried and Rodon, who started off high, who have kind of dramatically fallen off the cliff, and now the bullpen woes have just kind of carried over into the guys who have now came and put the pinstripes on, right? So you said it. It's not so much about the losing, but it's how they lose, right? Sloppy base running, not great defense. They don't play really well at all in 2-run ball games or fewer. They haven't done well. Probably one of the worst records in baseball in those games. So I tweeted this, and we talked about it a while ago. I sat and asked myself, is this who they really are actually? Judge, I think maybe playing hurt, may have came back too soon. And I said, this may be who the Yankees are, and they're just not the team that a lot of fans hope they would be.
Well, I just think this is the roster they're given, right? It's the same thing we talked about last year when they lost the World Series. The Dodgers said it. They're not a great defensive team. They are home run or bust, even though they've tried to get a little more athletic, but they're still
they don't use it.
They're just home run reliant most of the time, right? Their bullpen, they went and made these moves. One of the guys is in AAA. The other guys have struggled. Bednar's been okay, but he's struggled a little bit too. They lose Cole at the beginning of the year. Stroman's not there anymore. Rodon has been okay. Fried was great at the early. He's faltered a little bit here towards the end, but they are what they are. And that's the thing I think that's most frustrating is they don't play a clean brand of baseball, like Scott said. They make mistakes on the bases. Their outfield defense has not been great. Grisham's been okay in center, but Dominguez has not been good in left at all. You have Stanton in right. So it's like, what do we do if you're a Yankee? There's nothing you can do. You got your team. There's no more trades. There's no more any way to get players. You got what you got. You better hope they get hot. But I love Aaron. Aaron Boone will go down with the ship. Aaron Boone does not deserve the heat that he is getting.
Agree.
Because he will stand up for his players, as any good manager should. He will stand up to his players until the ship hits the bottom. But like that right there, like that's just a fluke thing. Bellinger's trying to make a play, and the ball slips out of his hands. But Yankee fans say, like, oh, what's Cody Bellinger doing? Well, he's trying to make a play. The ball slipped out of his hands. Sometimes stuff just happens out of your control. Sometimes they make mistakes on their own from mental or whatever it is. But it's not Aaron Boone's fault. So let's get off Aaron Boone, okay? He's doing the best he can with the team he has. He's trying to put guys in the right situation. I don't know. Are they going to make it? They should still make it. Are they better than the Guardians? They
It's
should
close.
be.
It's
They
close.
should be.
Yeah, and
should
they've got
be.
all the
On
heat,
paper.
though, AJ.
I know,
The
but they
Guardians
should
have
be.
nothing. It's like the Tigers last year. You're playing with absolute house money. And the Guardians made it to the ALCS last year. It's not that different of a team. I know they lost their closer in Class A, but the bullpen's still good. It's a scrappy team. It's a crappy division. They're 61-56. They're a half game away. They're even in the loss column to the Yankees
Scott,
right now. They're a
Scott,
problem.
I said this, and I want AJ to kind of chime in, and I really actually love this to an extent because I said this last show, and I said Brewers are saving baseball, and what I meant is, even right now we talking about can the Guardians do it? Well, what they do so well, right? And we talk about organizational, plans, and what are we doing to develop guys? The Guardians, they draft guys, they develop guys. They don't develop guys they don't try to go out and get a bunch of Aaron Judges and a bunch of, Giancarlo Stanton and a bunch of guys that just, are predominantly power guys. They want, complete ball players who can hit for a little bit of power hit, can hit for a little bit of average. They fundamentally are extremely sound. They won't ever beat you or lose you ball games, right? And even if they don't win, those type of ball clubs are starting to compete again, right? And I think it's promoting the complete ball player, the complete game again. And I think, when you look at the Yankees and you put all this power and all this, glitz and glamour on paper, it looks great, but are these guys complete ball players? And they haven't played like that for the last 2 years when you talk about not beating themselves. The Yankees beat themselves as well as wait on the long ball, and their holes up and down the lineup and up and down the offense. So I just think, I love seeing this. The teams that we're talking about are teams that play complete baseball.
The development side, AJ, is interesting to me. I'll point this note out. The Yankees have not had a player come up through their farm system and put up back-to-back 100 OPS plus or better years. Back-to-back years of better than league average production from a homegrown player. Since Gleyber Torres, who debuted in 2018.
Is he a homegrown guy, though? Because he was traded from the Cubs.
He was
right. They said come up through their farm system.
Yeah, but I mean, he was there for like a month, and then he was in the big leagues. It's not like he was drafted or signed by the Yankees. And so let's go. Who was the one before?
Before that's probably Judge in my mind. I mean, I'm just guessing, but it's probably
that's
Judge. I mean, Cam, I think in fairness, he's a complete.
He came up in 2017. So it's been 2017.
Yeah.
And and not only is he a complete player, he's one of the best players in our game, but a lot of players are chasing Aaron Judge, and it's making those players incomplete because Aaron Judge is a special type of player. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, this is no shout out. Aaron Judge is arguably the best player in the game. You can argue that, and that's my guy. But what I'm saying is a lot of players need to understand, like, maybe what Judge does, and he has the ability to hit for power, hit for average, but what he does well may not be what you do well, right? And I think you get in so many organizations chasing that type of production instead of chasing what guys do well, right? So, it may work at lower levels, but when you get to the big leagues, that starts to get exposed, and those guys are, pushed out the game very quickly. So I just think you're seeing those organizations like the Brewers go get guys who say, yeah, you may have that type of power, but hey, how about we go for 15 to 20 this year, and let's hit for high average, and let's score 90 runs, and let's save a bunch of runs. Like, let's promote that complete ball player again instead of just the OPS guy. So again, I think people get it twisted when I say guys like Aaron Judge. I just mean, he is a complete player, but figure out who you are as a baseball player. And I think we don't do enough of that. And I think the Yankees have a lot of that, even when you watch them. Guys who should be trying to get on base, a lot of head flying, and a lot, swinging for the fences and not getting on base and not stealing and not creating havoc with their athleticism. So That's what I mean when I say that. I don't by no means any shots at Aaron Judge.
Yeah, and I'm with you guys here. I mean, the Booney attack is ridiculous. I mean, we've talked about it all year, okay? There's a front office that puts the team together, and there's an organization that develops the players. Aaron Boone ain't helping the bad throw, that slips out of the hand over there, and most of the dumb stuff too. Aaron Boone, when he played, doesn't make the play that Jazz Chisholm does. And I guess, the most you can do, like AJ said, is sit him for a game or two, and then you're missing that bat. And then they're already screwed as it is with the way that they're constructing the roster. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton playing in the outfield for a team that's barely in a wild card and it's mid-August. Yeah, that's not fun. So lastly, for me on this one, there's not really much in terms of reinforcement. So it is what it is, like AJ and Cam said. Judge is back, hopefully can play in the field soon. They're missing Ryan Yarbrough and Fernando Cruz. That's really all I have of guys this year that are going to come back. Cole's next year, Clutch Schmidt's after that. They cut Stroman. It's not like they're waiting for some knight in shining armor like the Dodgers have been doing. They keep getting all these guys coming back that have been hurt. The Yankees don't have that. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens.
And what do they do with Spencer Jones? He's just hit his 30th homer. I mean, what do they do with him? Just leave him down there the rest of the season, AJ?
They have to. Maybe
Why?
Bring him up in September. Maybe. Where's he going to play?
Call him up.
Play where?
Outfield.
4?
I don't want Giancarlo Stanton playing 1 minute in the outfield.
Okay,
That's
then
a
you
big
lose his
for me.
bat.
You're gonna
So he plays the outfield.
I don't give a crap. He's not playing the outfield.
You're gonna have to
I'm
put him in
sorry.
center. If you did it, you would have to put him in center, and Grisham would lose those at bats. And he's been great for the Yankees. I get it, but is he in your future plans? It would have to be like because he's been
Next
playing
year.
center field. That he would have to be. He probably plays center field. He's been playing center field. In the minors, it would have to be. Him in center, Dominguez, Judge, or Stanton for now. And I'm just.
What do you do with Bellinger? What do you do with Bellinger?
They put him at first. I mean,
What do you do with Goldschmidt?
Yeah, you could play Bellinger more at first because Goldschmidt shouldn't be playing against right-handed pitching at all anymore, guys. Sorry, hot take, but he has not hit right-handed pitching the whole year. Have him be a lefty smasher, just like you got Slater and Rosario.
You're going to platoon Bellinger and Goldschmidt?
And let Ben Rice catch. Yeah, and then no, I wouldn't say that. Maybe some pinch hit at bats. He would.
Hold up.
I don't know.
AJ, you want Goldie playing first every day right now? AJ, have you seen Goldie's numbers against right-handed pitching this year?
So you're going to platoon Bellinger and Goldschmidt at first?
No.
You're going to have Ben Rice as your catcher? Where's
can't
Austin
take
Wells? Where's the JC Escara? I mean, the problem is the roster is not. There's no room for Spencer Jones right now. I'm sorry.
You're right.
He has to wait till next year. I think Grisham's a free agent.
Yeah.
Sorry. But if they think Spencer Jones, then you move Dominguez to center, put maybe Jones in left, have a healthy Aaron Judge in right. Sorry. See you next year, Spencer. Maybe come up in September and try to hit some pitch hit homers. That's it.
If anything, the move probably would have been to try to trade Trent Grisham while he's been swinging it. And that would have been the only probably, but you're right. Because you can't take Belly because Belly's been great for the Yankees this year.
We got to jump. Speaking of trades, Mike Yastrzemski is now a Kansas City Royal, and he's joining us on FT next. Say it ain't so, Mo. Did you guys see this? Old Timers Day. Mariano Rivera tore his Achilles. Sucks.
Didn't he do a play in the outfield?
What, over the weekend?
Yeah, I think he was playing right field. Didn't he
remember?
In the outfield?
It had flashbacks to me of when what did he tear? Was his knee?
Yeah,
when
shagging.
Shagging? Yeah.
He got a hit off Andy Pettit, though. He did get a hit off Andy Pettit, so he has bragging rights. And by the way, I don't know if y'all have seen the Johnny Damon picture. Lay off my guy, Johnny, okay? It was a bad picture. He doesn't look that bad in person. I've seen him. All right, let's lay off him because on Twitter, I feel like let's lay off Johnny.
Yeah. Also, how many people on Twitter are criticizing an appearance and have no business doing that? Okay, let's go there for a moment.
But
You're
you know what I'm
criticizing
saying.
someone's look. Yeah, and I'm with you, AJ. I've seen Johnny too. He looks great. But Old Timers Day, Savannah Bananas. We've had some significant injuries. Our buddy Sean Casey. What was that? Was that his hammy?
Hamstring. Yeah,
hammy?
he tore it off the bone. Is not crazy.
what's going on here, guys? We got to stretch more before games, or it's just father time. You get old, you can't run around like you used to. But those are bad injuries.
First of all, Sean Casey, you're never fast, dude. What are you doing? Like, trust me, if I ever get to play for the Bananas, I ain't running full speed. Okay, let's just establish that. It's going to be about half a quarter of a speed. It's just going to be enough to get me to first base if I'm lucky enough to hit the ball. Okay, so what are we doing? Like, Kip played for the Bananas. Yeah, I guarantee you when he ain't run full speed. You get a little adrenaline, you think you're fast. Case was never fast. I saw Case get thrown out at first by the left fielder. Okay, on a single. That Case, let's slow our roll down. Okay, I love you, but you're not fast. I'm not fast.
I've never seen so much controversy from the Yankees old timers game. All the New York radio, I think it was Boomer Esiason was going after Jeter, like, oh, his excuse for not being there is not legit. I'm like, shut up. He doesn't have to go. Just it's ridiculous. Too much. Anyway,
the price of wearing pinstripes.
Yeah. Right. Even a freaking an exhibition game gets more attention than, the Brewers winning 9 games in a row. To me, it's like uncle on that. So, okay, we're done talking about the Yanks the rest of the show. Let's talk Royals coming up in 20 seconds. Mike Yastrzemski, ready to go. Mike Yastrzemski of the Kansas City Royals joining us right now. Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. Thank you for the time. How's life with the Royals your first week and a half?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been good so far. I mean, it's the show, man. Doesn't There's no bad place to be.
And you're in a playoff race, right? You could be traded to worse situations. So
Exactly.
I mean, first off, what do you notice when you step foot there and you've been a week and a half there? Give me one thing that stands out as a difference. Could be positive, negative, or neutral about KC versus San Francisco.
I mean, these guys are into it. Like, these guys care. This is a group of ball players. It's not a crazy star-studded roster, but it's a lot of quality at bats. The guys play the game the right way. They play hard, and the pitching's electric. So it's everything you could ask for.
Hey, Mike, I know Salvy's the vet in the clubhouse, and he's the guy. But I just want to know a guy that who bounced around throughout his career. Now you are traded. Who's the funniest guy in the clubhouse so far that you noticed just from the jump?
I would say, I mean, Salvy's up there, man. He's always laughing. He's smiling. And he has such a big presence. It's hard to miss him. So we'll go with Salvy for now until I dig a little deeper, and then I'll get back to you guys.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. Catchers are always the best personalities, players, athletes, everything on the field. So it doesn't surprise me.
Debatable, but we'll figure that out.
Listen, as a second best player from Bridgehampton, okay, yeah, stand down for a second. Okay, stand down. All right. Now, you got traded from the Giants to the Royals. How did you find out you were traded? Can you tell that story for us?
Yeah. So you want the full story?
Yeah, I want the full story.
All right. So my brother-in-law sets me up with a mutual friend between me and Dave Fleming, and my brother-in-law knew him too. And he says, "Hey, why don't you guys come out and play Shinnecock on the off day?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Sounds like a great time. Go out, have a great day. Couple beers. We're hitting fairways. We're making putts. We're doing the whole thing." And it was supposed to rain, and we escaped that. So I'm like, I'm on cloud 9. And I get into the clubhouse and I'm about to shower. And it's like a strict no phones place, right? So it's like very respectful. Like, you're on this historic property. We're not touching our phones. And I'm about to hop into the shower and my phone starts ringing and it says Buster Posey. And I show it to my brother-in-law, who walks out of the shower butt naked. And he just looks at the phone and he goes, "Is this real?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, buddy, I gotta go." And so I shoot right over to the little phone booth that they have, and it's a glass window. And so I'm sitting there, and there's like 10 or 12 people just walking by, and the same people keep walking by, and like they keep poking their heads in, and I'm like, "Oh boy, this is this is it. And so Buster gave me the call and told me I was going to Kansas City, and I went back in and told the guys, and they were like, all right, let's figure out how to get you there.
Did you? Okay, so now because as a Hamptons guy, and for people that don't know, Shinnecock is in Southampton, right next to National and Sabonic, and and your grandfather was from Bridgehampton, which is right there too.
Yeah.
When you checked into golf at Shinnecock, did people say, "Are you related to Carl?" How many people there were like, "Wait, I know," because there's a lot of old timers that work at Shinnecock, and then once you got traded, did you just walk out and be like, "I'm gone"? See you guys, and you got on your helicopter and flew to Kansas City?
So nobody said anything, actually. I think it was just assumed. When you're out in the Hamptons and you have that last name, I think it's just an assumption. They don't even need to ask. But it was wild. I went in there and I actually knew a couple of the like the assistant pro there. I'd met him a couple times at some other places, and so it was nice to see those guys, and they were all fired up how everything was going. And then all of a sudden I was leaving, and they're like, all right, I guess we're Royals fans now. So it happened quick.
Hey, Mike, I want to know, how do you go phoneless at a time like that, right? Like, were you just like, you know what, there could be a chance, or I don't even want to know. Like, I wanted to find me the hardest way possible to find me. Like, how do you go? How do you do that?
I'm off the grid. If you can't find me, you can't make the transaction. No, but it was just peaceful. It was like it just brought a lot of like calmness to that day where you're out on the golf course, you're overlooking the water. We're bouncing over to Nationals halfway house to grab some drinks. It's just like it's one of those things that it was a day that was meant to happen.
Right. So with that said, and all the history that that your last name carries, the moments that you've created yourself in that Giants uniform, how was that personally though? Like, to think. Did you ever? I'm sure the business of it. You thought the day could come, but did you ever think, hey, it could be coming this soon? And how does it feel to be in this new clubhouse? And how do you feel that your role is now?
Yeah, I felt like one of the cool things was I felt really like I completed my journey in San Francisco. Other than obviously I wanted to win a World Series there, it would have been super cool. But in terms of the personal things, I lasted 7 years longer than I thought I would. So it was super cool. The hardest thing was to leave the guys in the clubhouse. The relationships that you've cultivated over 7 years. They were my family, and so that's the hard thing. And then the fun thing is you're stepping into somebody else's world, and I was eager to learn. I want to learn about the Royal Way and how these guys do things over here. Meet some new teammates, play some new card games. The whole deal. So it was fun.
All right, I got to go back before we get more into the trade. I got to go back here for a second. You said okay, for people that don't know, Shinnecock Hills has hosted U.S. Opens. The course next to it is called National, and then there's another course called Sabonic. They're within. You can literally throw a baseball from all three. Okay, and they're literally right there. Okay, so they're three of the top 20 courses in the world, USA for sure, and they're within baseball. Hit a baseball. You can hit a baseball from one to the next. They're across the street. It's like not far. But how did you get from Shinnecock, and then you said you went to the National halfway house? I mean, I know there's no fence or anything, but they just let you walk because your name is Yastrzemski. So next time I go out east, I'm calling you because, I can get on them, but I have probably a little more difficult time than you. So I'm calling you next time for the hookup. If you can just walk from Shinnecock to go to National.
Come on, yeah, the Southsiders at National hit a little different. And when you're playing as a foursome, you got a twosome behind you. You got to make a little way, and so we let them play through on the third hole, and we're just like, we'll just go grab a drink, no problem.
So jealous. So jealous. Scott has no idea what we're talking about, but I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
No, respectfully, I don't care about the golf course. Respectfully, I don't care.
That is the ultimate day for a golfer.
I'm sure. I am into the story though. This is fascinating. So yeah, as for me, were you anxious leading up to that point? I know you mentioned, and I agree. I mean, you want to have a day where you don't have to worry about looking at your phone, seeing Ken Rosenthal just rip breaking news left and right. We were on for like 8 hours that day. day. So did you have a feeling going into that process that you could be moved based on, contract status being free agent and also where the Giants were, that they had indicated they were going to make a deal? And I think the night before is when they did the Rodgers trade. So that kind of let everyone know, hey, they were going to do a mini sell.
I mean, I knew there was ultimately a possibility, but I wasn't positive, and I'm glad I didn't have my phone, that I wasn't on Twitter all day checking everything out, because if I somehow found out that I was traded before Buster got a chance to call me, I would have been pretty bummed out. That would have felt like a weird way to go, but they handled it unbelievably professionally. Buster was a good friend of mine, good teammate, and that whole conversation you would think was super strange, but it was really smooth. It was like he was incredibly respectful, and had a great talk, and it's not the end of a relationship. It's just we'll see you in a year or two.
Right, exactly. Hey, you played with Buster, and then now you played on a team where Buster was running the front office. What was your reaction when you heard that news initially, that Buster Posey was going to lead the front office of the Giants? And how did he do? I mean, you went from Farhan Zaidi, who he's been on our show, both of them have. He is a very different human being than Buster Posey is. So kind of give me the lay of the land here of how things went. I heard he had like some amazing spring training speech about hustling and just the way they were going to do things. And that even went into roster decisions. So want to hear it from someone like you that's been with this team a while.
Yeah, I was fired up. One of the things that's hard as a player is when the front office is making decisions, and not to take any power decision making process away from anyone, but when you hear it from someone who's doing things on a computer and crunching numbers and not having the flow of the clubhouse and knowing what it's like to be moved, knowing what it's like to be in it with the guys, there's a different aspect. And Buster's obviously respected on the playing level, on a human level, on the front office level. So to have a guy like that who was leading the charge was like empowering as a player. You felt like you could go talk to him about anything. You could talk to him about game planning. You could talk to him about positioning. You could talk to him about rules in the clubhouse, travel, what you want to wear when you fly, all these things that end up creating a culture. And that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to create a winning culture. And, he did everything he could. I think he made the right moves, and we just played horrible down that stretch where we needed to play well to give him confidence to keep the band together. But sometimes that's how it goes.
I got one more for you on you personally. A couple homers early here with the Royals and some nice pops so far this year. I read it was a while ago about how you were working with Pat Burrell. Is that true, right? This year? Okay. So what's that like? Is he like, hey, biceps all day and, rip the gym? Like what did you talk about with Pat that led to some more pop?
Man, a lot of things. A lot of it is, the best thing about him is he remembers how hard the game is, and he doesn't look at you and think you should hit every pitch or hit every pitch for a homer or walk every time. Like sometimes you walk back to the dugout and he'll laugh and look at you and just be like, "Yeah, you had no chance," and you'll nod. You'll be like, "Yeah, you were absolutely right." And so there's a realistic expectation with him where you understand the type of player you are, and he helps you understand the type of player you are, and the best pathway that you can have to becoming the best version of yourself to fit the role that you have on the team.
Okay. Ask Pat Burrell about the machine. That's all I'm going to say. Ask him about the machine. If you haven't already. I'm sure you have.
There's plenty of talk about it.
Okay, good. Because Pat's one of my all-time favorite dudes I was ever around in my life. So I'm glad he's doing well. I want to know, though, there was the big trade you guys made in San Francisco with Rafi Devers. Can you explain? Because Rafi Devers has taken a lot of heat. What was it like being Rafi Devers' teammate? Because all I ever do is see him smiling. So I've never played with him. So can you talk about your short experience with him as a teammate?
He was the best, man. Like, awesome teammate, willing to do whatever he had to. I think he just got thrown into a weird circumstance, and I think sometimes as players you have to stick up for yourself, and I think that's what he tried to do. And I think the wording of it was delivered poorly because he's an awesome teammate. He works his tail off. He tries to help everybody. Like if you face a guy that if you're facing a guy that he's faced and you haven't faced him, full scouting report, where you want to look for the ball, what pitch you want to hit, how he's going to pitch you. He's really smart and he cares about winning so much. So I don't understand where all the heat came from.
That tracks. That tracks with some of the homework that was done there. The disrespect behind the scenes leading to a broken relationship. And hey, benefit for the Giants now, who have one of the best hitters in the game for a while. Yeah, this was awesome, man. Thanks for checking in. Trade story was great. Good luck here. We're rooting for you. See if the Royals can make a little run here down the stretch. We like that they bought instead of many in their spot that would have sold. So do your thing, man.
All right, boys. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
You too.
luck, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
What's up? We're back. Hey, let's figure out the rest of the show here. We're gonna produce as we go. AJ, you want to talk about some of this White Sox stuff from the weekend, or you need more time for it?
What are we talking about?
They did a little 50-foot, the 50-foot hot dog and the
50-foot hot dog. The comments, there were some comments on it that were hilarious.
Of course,
they wore shorts, which is that they wore for one game when Bill Veeck was in charge. Bill Veeck, listen, he's kind of the grandfather of godfather of like all the things you see at entertainment, the exploding scoreboard. He tried all kinds of crazy things. Here's the 50-foot hot dog. I mean, listen, the White Sox, they honored him with a bobblehead. And you know what? Good for them, man. He did all kinds of cool things. And he deserves a lot of credit for making the game what it is today as far as entertainment goes. I'm not talking about on the field, but I'm talking about the Dizzy Bat Race and the Savannah Bananas owe a lot to the Veeck family and Bill Veeck especially. So I think that it's a great honor by the White Sox. He was the owner there for a while. He did a lot of disco demolition. We never have it without him. So there's a lot of things that have happened in baseball because of him, and cool job by the White Sox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, when the season is what it is, which is still a terrible season, it's not last year, but there's been some bright signs and better play in the last month, whatever. It's still a bad season. It's not a competitive team. Do something fun. I mean, the minor leagues obviously are really good at this all year long. So, Cam, a little sprinkle of fun and doing stuff that playoff teams wouldn't necessarily be focused on, but that's okay.
They need to do everything they can right now to bring smiles to people's faces. So I'm definitely okay with this. And like you said, it's paying homage to a former owner and somebody who's created a lot of, excitement and fun moments for families in the game of baseball. So I think this was fitting.
Yeah, and hey, while we're on the AL Central, Ryan in the chat asked me about this earlier, and I said I would give him his flowers. Luke Keeschel, he said making a big name for himself with the Twins. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, he had himself a weekend. He's been money. I know he had the big injury in between when he debuted for the Twins, but AJ, this guy looks legit.
If he doesn't get hurt, do the Twins not trade everybody? Are they in this race? You never know. But he got hit by that pitch, right? And since he's been back, he's been incredible. So good for you. Good for him. Good for the Twins fans to have some hope going forward.
Yeah, they've been playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Quickie hot corner time. I just wanted to remind everyone about a week and a half ago, AJ, during our trade deadline show, that the Phillies also picked up David Robertson. Like, that is a pickup around that time period. I count that when I was grading what they did. And if he looks like he did last year, it's going to be special. So we can throw this tweet up. This is Paul. How do we say the last name? Cassell. I can't see. Casella? Covers the team for MLB. He said, David Robertson joins the Phillies bullpen. This was posted over the weekend with Duran, sub-2 ERA, Strom, low-2 ERA since July, Kerkering, sub-2 ERA since May, Tanner Banks, last 20 appearances, sub-2 ERA. So, of course, there's a little cherry picking in terms of statistics, but the quote at the bottom, I think, stands out. It's changed over a really short period of time, and AJ, you talked about it at the top of the show, but this looks like an October bullpen that can hang. Now, it's not the Padres bullpen. but this looks like one of the better bullpens in terms of the circle of trust and having 5-ish guys that they really like.
No, listen, they have a solid bullpen. They have a really good bullpen. I think the numbers prove it. The big key for me here is Rob Thompson knows it. He knows how to use them, and he knows how to put guys in positions to succeed. And Kirkring and that doesn't even include Matt Strom, who was in all-star form last year and is a key guy for them down the stretch. So I think Tanner Banks has been unbelievable. He pitched in the game that I did on Saturday in a close game. Or Strom is there on there. Sorry, Duran came in and closed it out. So. Listen, I think their bullpen is good. I think their starters are good. Their lineup is good. This is a dangerous team in the postseason, and give Dave Dombrowski credit for going out and fixing the needs that he had.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
What else needs to be said? He's exactly right, and it's just one more veteran arm that knows how to get outs. And we talked about it. When you add Duran, everything else just falls right into place for the Phillies. So the Phillies are scary this year. They've knocked on the door for last few years, and this could be their year.
So what does the rest of the season look like for the Phillies? They should be in good shape with a 5.5 game lead with a month and change left to go in the season. But what I want to do next is a strength of schedule report. We will go in the weeds and we will look at some of the teams and who they're facing at the end of the year. It's not just about record. This is my theory. It's about who you're facing and when. We'll go over it coming up. BetMGM free game of the day. Very soon after the show today, 4:10 Eastern time, it's the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. So basically what you can do is show ends at 3, Dodgers territory 3 o'clock to 3:30, Baseball America hot sheet 3:30 to 4, and then 4:10 free game of the day. The Dodgers taking on the Blue Jays, live streaming available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts. Friday, I lose. Kansas City lost. Pap hit his parlay, Detroit and Arizona. And Trevor May got his over with Philly and Texas. Moneybags, don't listen to me. Don't listen to AJ. Listen to Trevor May, Cam Maybin, and Jonathan Papelbon, and Todd Frazier, and basically any of the non-regulars, because we get overexposed every day. And Cam, you're up first because you're up $480.
Well, let's continue to stay in the money. You know what? I went down the schedule and I think, how can I bet against anybody other than the Brewers? So I'm going Brewers money line. I'm going over the run total tonight. They will continue to stay hot, and I'll continue to put money in your pocket. Stay with me. Let's get paid.
Yeah. Okay. So that's over 9 runs that you need, plus Milwaukee money line at plus 210 for you. AJ, you have a parlay for us?
I do. It's pretty easy. I'm taking the Yankees. All the Yankee bashing that you guys have been doing on here. They're playing the Twins. They're at home. The Twins don't beat the Yankees, guys. They don't beat the Yankees. Okay. The Twins do not beat the Yankees, especially in New York. So I'm taking the Yankees, and then I'm taking Logan Webb to go into the 7th inning today in San Francisco. He's pitching in San Francisco against the Padres. The Padres offense is what the Padres offense is. I know their pitching's great, but I think Logan Webb goes out and pitches a great game for him tonight and gets into the 7th at over 18.5 outs. Just needs 1 out in the 7th inning. That's plus 223.
Giants had a rough weekend, too. They could use a Logan Webb gem.
Exactly, and he's been really good.
Yeah, they got embarrassed a little bit by the Nationals. Did they lose all 3 or 2 of those? I think 2.
No, they won
maybe.
yesterday. They won yesterday.
They lost 2 out of 3, was it? Yeah. All right. Good luck. And for Pap and me, we'll give you our picks coming up after we do this segment on strength of schedule down the stretch. In the weeds coming up. Time in Major League Baseball. To me, that's August and September for you. We're in mid-August, and The Athletic has a series out on remaining schedules for contenders. I'm going to cherry pick a little bit because I don't care as much about the teams with decent division leads. But first off, there are about 7 weeks remaining in the season. And you've got Phillies, Mets still coming up soon, Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, Padres twice this month. AJ's calling one of those games, but back-to-back weekends of Dodgers, Padres. Cubs, Brewers are going to play 5 games in 4 days soon. So we've got some good ones. I'm going to hop around here, guys, a little bit. I want to go to the Mariners. So as we're doing this, they're a half game back of the Astros. They're in a wild card spot, Cam. They're in the second wild card. Their playoff odds, I think they're using Fangraphs, 94.8%. That is exceptional. Strength of schedule remaining is just about 50%. So just about 500 ball clubs remaining, 502. They're 66-53. Coming up for them, a series against the Orioles on the road. Then they're on the road taking on the Mets and the Phillies. Then they go back home for the A's and the Padres, and then take on the Guardians on the road to finish up the month. So what do we think of this next month for the Mariners coming up? They have 1 series left against an AL West contender, and that's the Astros in mid-September. Otherwise, you get a lot of East Coast coming up here for them.
Yeah, a lot of high stakes games coming up for the Mariners when you look at the schedule, and they're going to be battle tested. But I think the biggest thing for them is they are equipped when you talk about that starting rotation, when you talk about the bullpen. And I love the way their offense is playing right now. They're going to have to go in and earn it when you look at the Phillies and look at some of those teams. And like you said, no slouches, right? Every series is going to be competitive. So this is going to be big, especially when you talk about the Texas Rangers kind of nipping at the heels of the Mariners and the Astros as well. So each and every playoff series, each and every series will be like a playoff series when you talk about the Astros and the teams that they are also facing who are, have a hopes of making it into the playoffs.
And AJ,
it's going to be fun.
Yeah, AJ, I'll give you the Astros side of this, right? If we think the Mariners are going to take down the Astros in the AL West, and they're pretty much neck and neck right now, they have the Astros at 91% playoff odds. Strength of schedule for them over the next month is a little easier, right? At 496 strength of schedule coming up. So they have them home against the Red Sox and the Orioles. Then they're on the road against the Tigers, back on the road still against the Orioles. And then they finish up the month with the Rockies and the Angels at home.
I mean, this sounds like a chance to win some games.
Yeah.
I mean, the Red Sox are going to be tough. They get Crochet. I know that. I understand that. The Orioles, they should be able to win that series, you would think. The Tigers is going to be tough, and it all depends on who they match up with. Then they get the Orioles for 4. I'm at one of those games, by the way. And then they get the Rockies at home and the Angels for 4 at home. Listen, this lines up for them to at least try to keep up. And listen, the Mariners aren't going to be 9-1 every 10 games from now on. So the Mariners going, you can say whatever you want about the Mariners, but going east is a problem for a lot of West Coast teams. The going east thing hurts a lot of the West Coast teams. So do I think the Mariners can do it? Yeah. But do I think this lines up nice for the Astros? Absolutely.
Yes.
The one thing for Houston is they don't have many off days. So they'll have one this Thursday. Then they play 10 in a row. Then they have a stretch after that of 13 in a row. But they are getting starting pitching back, right? Christian Javier coming back. Like there are some guys that were down that are coming back that should be able to eat some innings for them. So that should help. But that's the rest of August schedule for the Astros. Should we look at who do you guys want? The Yankees, the Red Sox, or the Guardians next for this month? Which one do you want to look at?
I mean, the Yankees are the key team.
Let's go look at the Boston Red Sox, because again, I know they started off that series in San Diego. That first game was fun to watch. The Padres give them a lot of credit for bouncing back. But I like the way Boston is playing right now, as we talked about all these moves that they did not make. The clubhouse is saying something different. Those dudes are having fun right now. I'm watching these guys play pretty much every night, and there's a buzz, there's a confidence about him. I think a lot of that has to do with Trevor Story looking back to his, somewhat his old self, Alex Bregman as well. Duran, again, these guys are just fun, explosive, and they can tilt the field. What do we have on Boston?
All right, so they have a 74.3% playoff odds, 501 strength of schedule over the next month here. Astros on the road is the series coming up here, which starts tonight. Marlins at home. They're also at home for the Orioles. And now keep in mind with the Marlins, they're pesky, but they had a rough 5 games just now against the Braves. Let's not act like the
Mhm.
Marlins are the hottest thing. I mean, they had a really nice run. You can run into some tough starters against them, but anyway, after the Orioles, then they're on the road for that big series late August against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. They stay on the road for Baltimore again for 4. Baltimore's just in everyone's way right now. And then they go back home at the end of the month to take on the Pirates. How does that sound, Cam?
I mean, for them, they should be excited about winning some baseball games. Again, it's theirs to lose when you look at that. And again, you said you don't play any of these games on paper. If anything, I think you look at what the Yankees did, and when they went into Miami, let's not have that lackadaisical mindset, right? Take everything serious. But this road is set up for success for them, so it's up to them to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'll give you the Rangers as well.
Hold up. Listen.
Yeah.
The Twins, the White Sox, the Nationals, the Rays. I mean, I know the Cardinals. Did I freeze? I know the Cardinals are in it, right? But the Twins aren't in it. The Rays aren't in it. The Nationals aren't in it, and the White Sox aren't in it. So that's 4. Yes, they play the Red Sox. Okay. Cardinals. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is set up for the Yankees to get hot. Right here,
Yeah.
boom. I mean, this should be their road where they pick up some games. If they're going to do this, this is the road to hoe for me.
That
right.
Jorge Posada mindset, right? Like, this is the time, and you saw, I guess, a quote from Jorge Posada, like, it's time to get pissed off, right? Like, I do believe there's a sense of, and AJ, maybe you can touch on this. I think sometimes with baseball, we talk about, like, the mental and the mechanical, but there's a such thing as in competing when you just can will yourself to just win, not losing. Like, as a group come together collectively and say, you know what, screw this. This is when we really go ahead and really show how good we are and not lose against these teams that we're supposed to take advantage of, right? Like, will yourself to victory down this stretch. I like it. I like that, what AJ said.
Yeah, last one for me. I'll go over the Rangers, who are also obviously in a wild card race here. They've got the Diamondbacks at home, Blue Jays on the road for 3, 4 on the road against Kansas City. Then they're back home for the Guardians and Angels, and on the road against the A's.
Doesn't matter. Until they score runs, I don't care what their schedule is. If they don't score runs, I mean, DeGrom dealt on Saturday, the game I did. Didn't score. Nathan Eovaldi has a 1.38 ERA. They don't score runs, it doesn't matter. If they don't score runs, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. So, yeah, until they figure out a way to score more runs, I don't care who they play. They could play Cam's San Diego's Padres scout team, right? If they're scoring 1-2 runs a game, the Padres scout team got a shot.
We might have a chance.
It's a 2-year problem. 2-year problem for the Rangers is the offense, and that continues. I'm with you. Yeah, it was a tough watch this weekend. But anyway, we'll swing right back. We'll go over slap hands.
What's up, my people of FT? It's your boy Parlay Pap coming to you on this Monday. Look, we playing with house money, so we gonna keep playing with house money. We up. We taking the Royals today for sure, because they're playing a Washington National team that's just decimated, falling faster than I don't know what. And then we ain't betting against Eovaldi, so we taking the Rangers. We're gonna 2-leg them. We're gonna put 100, and that's plus 167. And let's keep getting that cheese, baby.
Stay hot, Pat. Keep it up. Everybody's got plus money today. I'm going to go Milwaukee Brewers like Cam, but I'm going to take the run line. So I need them to win by 2 or more. They played some close games this weekend against the Mets. I could see them blasting the Pirates tonight. Jose Quintana pitching against the team he once pitched for. And Andrew Heaney had a strong start with this team, but he's fallen off a bit. And I think the the Brewers get to him. So I've got the Brewers run line plus 105 for mine. And we can put all the locks on the board here for the day. There they are. Check them out and good luck. And if you have an any sport parlay boost token, then you can go for it. And BetMGM account holders get one. And you can score a bigger payout if your wager hits with that parlay boost token. Tokens can be used on a parlay, regular one, traditional, or a same game parlay. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And we can come back for a minute here and look at some second half swings with line movement here on BetMGM. So you've got the Brewers 17-4 since the All-Star break. And now their odds to win the World Series went from plus 3,000 at the break a couple weeks ago. Last week, it went up to plus 1,600. Today, we're at plus 1,000. Still not even close to the Dodgers, who have been hovering around the plus 250 mark, AJ. But the Brewers are definitely picking up steam. Like, to me, you kind of lost the value. It's too late now.
If you would have done it when they were plus 3,000, you got a chance to be really in the money. So, yeah. Can they do it? Absolutely, they can do it if they keep doing what they're doing. So, yeah, it's great value still. I mean, plus, what'd you say it was now? Plus 1,000? That's still pretty good, though. Still pretty good if you believe in them and you're a Brewers fan. I mean, you're not betting on the Rockies, who you know aren't going to win the World Series.
You're not betting on the Rockies for anything but fading them all year if you're Pap and making money off them. All right, people, let's slap. We'll stay on for a few extra minutes today on YouTube before everyone gets to watch Dodgers territory. If you're a fan and you want to watch and see what the Dodgers are up to, Alana and Clint taking over. And then Baseball America Hot Sheet, we're going to go over the updated top 100. Where does your team stand with top 100 prospects? We'll go over some of the risers, fallers, who just entered the list, who is off of the list or graduated off of the list. All of that coming up on Hot Sheet. That one is at 3:30 Eastern time. We're live every single Monday. And let's finish with the attendance that came out. We didn't get to this on Friday. Jim Bowden posted about it. You know, it actually had a lot of controversy to it. So MLB posts like the average attendance numbers, right? Cam, the thing that pissed some fans off is that, you know, the Dodgers are always leading. Well, the Dodgers are a good business right now, but their park holds more than, say, a San Diego does. You know, so obviously the Padres-Dodgers rivalry is hot in any form. And the Padres, as AJ always jokes, they keep setting their attendance records, like a few more standing room only spots, but they're not going to beat the Dodgers no matter what in this category. The ballpark's not as big.
No, so what's the question here? I mean,
people are just like, they should measure this differently because Padres fans feel like they're not getting enough credit for how much they're showing up. They're like, we can't fill the park anymore. Like, we're not creating a bigger park. So they're like, maybe you should show it by sellouts or by percentage of the park filled, whatever. I don't know.
It's just stupid. Like, just be you're supporting your team and they're winning, okay? Who cares?
Be happy. Hug a tree.
Just be happy. Go surf.
I mean, in the same realm, we can show that again.
Hold up. Let's just look at where the Rockies' attendance is. This is why the owners don't care. Show that board again. 16, the Rockies, almost 30,000 fans a game. That's why they don't. They're we're doing fine, guys. What are you talking about? We have 30 wins so far this year. Why does it matter? We're still averaging 30,000 fans a game.
They're ahead of playoff teams too, guys. They're ahead of the Tigers. They're ahead of the Mariners. Mariners actually had their first sellout of the year on Saturday night, and that was Ichiro for his retirement ceremony. So they've been filling it up much more lately, but fans were pissed the last couple years, really. And I've seen it. I'm sure I've got a contingent of Mariners fans that come after me, even though I've been the highest person on this team, on this show for the past few years. AJ makes fun of me for it. And now, of course, I'm a Mariners hater because I'm not giving them enough love. But as far as attendance goes, Cam, there were a ton of people on social media the last couple of years that said, I am freaking done. Went through a rebuild. Owner said, screw you to the front office. I'm cutting payroll. Dipoto had to deal with that. Still has overcome it for this year, and they gave him some leeway this year. So look, surprise, surprise, second half of the season here, trade deadline passes, and the place is filling up. But before that time period, I think some fans were kind of like, you know what? You don't care? I don't care.
I played there during some of those times. I'm sure AJ did as well. I'm sure AJ played at a time when it was packed, when it was locked and loaded, big names. But I also came through there when it was a time where you come out as an opposing player and you love playing there. And it's like, yep, nobody here today. Like, here we go. You know what I mean? So again, I look at it the same way. You talk about Detroit. When you look at Detroit on that list as well, a little disappointing that, when you look at where they came from, talk about 84, like, let's get out and support these guys, man. Like, they're doing something special right now.
They are. Here's the other thing that's noticeable about this list of attendance.
Yeah, what do you got?
The Cardinals are 18th, behind the Rockies, behind the Brewers, behind the Diamondbacks. Angels 32,000 a game. Again, Artie Moreno's going, I get 32,000 a game. What do I need to make the team better for? Right? But the Cardinals 18th, baseball heaven. What happened? What happened, St. Louis?
I have a theory here. So Cardinals fans have a little bit of a similar vibe to the Mariners fans before this all happened, right? This year, where Cardinals fans are like, well, bad team, you're not putting enough into it. So my thing, AJ, is Cardinals fans are great, right? They'll cheer you all of that, but let's not act like they're totally different. I mean, they want to go see a good team. And they've been showing up for years because they're almost always competitive, but they haven't been for the last couple of years. They're not a World Series contender, so they don't show up. That's called a normal human being.
And I also called Cap about the Angels attendance. Yeah, right. Stop it. Cut it out.
A lot of paid, not a lot of showing up.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. Oops, forgot.
That's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Well,
this is paid, though. Let's not forget, this is paid.
Yeah, this is paid.
Exactly.
I do want to point that out, too. This is paid, different from what you see at the ballpark sometimes. Anyway, good show, good heat today. See everyone tomorrow.